Welcome to my mock draft 3.0 of the 2023 NFL season. This mock draft is going to be, I think, the last one before the actual draft season is coming to a close, and we can talk about what happened in the draft instead of trying to predict what happened in the draft. So this is going to be mock draft 3.0 for me, last call essentially for myself, and I'm going to give you a full 3-round mock draft rather than what I typically do with just a one mock draft. I only have one trade in here. You can't really do too many without getting into the weeds, and I just can't do that myself. But I think this is a really good mock draft. The first round, for sure, I think kind of shakes things up a little bit, and this is going to be more predictive than what I've done before, rather than doing what I would do. You're going to see that right away with a couple of these picks. But we're going to get into this video. Before we do, I do want to ask you guys if you could drop a like real quick. Drop that thumbs up button. It helps us out. Gives us more views, all that kind of good stuff. And we're going to start building up this channel more and more, and we want you guys to be there with us. So before I get into this video, drop a like. If you can comment something real quick for us too, definitely helps us out with the algorithm. And subscribe if you haven't already. You get more of our content, and that's a win-win in my book. And let's do it. All right, so in this mock draft, like I said before, this is something that I've already gone through, so I'm not going to be making picks right, as we're talking right now. These are picks that I made before, and that way we can go by these a little bit quicker and not spend too much time of me just sitting there looking around and trying to figure things out. So I went in through and did this a little bit beforehand, dressed it up to make it look nice for you guys, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. Let me know what you think about the presentation of it and all that kind of stuff. It's, took me a little bit to do it through Google Slides, to be honest, but I think it looks all right. And, it kind of makes it simple to show you guys. But again, like I said, this is predictive. This isn't saying I'm going to be right for sure. I don't think I'm going to be right. I don't think anyone is going to be right when it comes to these mock drafts. It's just a great exercise to talk about, what could happen, where these players kind of fit value-wise, things like that. So, you can hate on me. I'm definitely going to get some Eagles fan out there saying whatever I did is wrong. I welcome that. But definitely leave comments if you have any thoughts, that kind of thing. And look out for the mock draft stream that we're going to do. This stream, I'm going to be posting a video about the rules behind it, but we're going to be giving some money out to y'all, just to give you a thank you for watching and thank you for being on our stream. Come mock draft, the actual draft. Just so used to say mock draft now. But yeah, I think this is going to be really fun. I'm going to start off here though with the first overall pick. This first overall pick, I don't think should be a surprise anymore. I think Bryce Young is the guy for the Panthers here. The main reason why I think he just has a lot of the it factor that you ask any coach in the NFL, you must have to survive and everything like that. I think he has it more than anyone else. And I think the coaching staff there is willing to make that, bet essentially that they can work with Bryce Young. Even PJ Walker there had, a few good games, and he's nowhere the quarterback of what Bryce Young is. So I think this is a good pick for them. I think this is what happens game day. This next one here is going to be a little bit more interesting as far as kind of what the predictions are, but I'm predicting that the Houston Texans are going to be taking Anthony Richardson. I think that they would rather trade down and hopefully get Anthony Richardson, but I just don't think anyone's really going to be wanting to trade up to get them, because I just don't think there's a whole lot of value, to paying too much essentially to get a quarterback that isn't Bryce Young at this point. So with that being said, that's what I think the Texans are going to be doing. The next one here is Will Anderson being the edge to the Arizona Cardinals. If they stay here at this pick, again, I'm not trading every single pick. It would be, it would make sense for them to trade down, but here I'm sticking with Will Anderson. I think he's the most ready to go. I don't think the Cardinals have a whole lot of ability to just say, oh yeah, let's take a project right now. I think Will Anderson gives them the most impact right away, and that's what I would do. I think that's what they're going to do too. Number 4, I do think if CJ Stroud and Will Levis on the board, I could very well see them taking Will Levis at this point. And not to say that I hate CJ Stroud. If you listen to me, I actually have CJ Stroud as my number 1 guy. Not my, no, yeah, my number 1 guy. So this isn't me picking because obviously you would see CJ Stroud here. And I just see Will Levis as the guy that the Colts want because he has the size, he's got that run ability, he's got the strength, and he has a lot of really good tape. It's just he's had some injuries, he's had some growing pains, and I don't think that the Colts are going to shy away from that all that much. I think this guy has been on their board, since 2021, essentially. So that's what I think will happen. We'll see though. I'm sure I'm going to get some people commenting on it. But number 5 here, I have Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, going to the Seahawks. I think his talent far outweighs kind of the mistakes that he has made, and I think he'll tell you that they're mistakes. And it's just one of those things that a lot of people find themselves in. I don't think it makes him a bad person, and I think Jalen Carter is going to find a lot of support with the Seattle Seahawks. And I feel like this is just a great pairing with a great need, everything along it. I think this is a great pick for the Seattle Seahawks. Next here is Devon Witherspoon. Also, shout out Witherspoon, I think I should say there. Shout out to my phone for making these sweet cutouts of these players. It took me like 2 seconds to do, so I was super happy about that. I think they turned out pretty good too, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, Devon Witherspoon, probably the best cornerback in this draft. I really like Christian Gonzalez myself, but the Detroit Lions play style, I think they're going to really like Witherspoon, and they're going to go with Devon here. So I'm going to chalk up Devon. I think this is one of the most commonly put picks other than Will Anderson to the Cardinals, but I really like that. And that brings us to the Raiders. A lot of people might say, oh, they're not going to skip on CJ Stroud. But I could see them very well skipping on CJ Stroud. They got Jimmy G, who obviously isn't, some gatekeeper that's going to keep away any rookie that comes in there. And I think Jimmy G is, he's a guy that's there for right now. But I just don't see the Raiders and their coaching staff and what they want to do pairing very well with CJ Stroud. I think they're going to skip on CJ Stroud. And, at this point, I would expect teams to start trading up for CJ Stroud, because that's what I would do. I think a lot of teams would start making the calls here. But for the Raiders, they haven't had this kind of guy at cornerback for a long time. And obviously, cornerback's not the biggest position. It's not the an edge quarterback or left tackle. But where they have good enough players at quarterback and left tackle, and I mean Max Crosby is a beast on the edge. Christian Gonzalez can take another position and be another great player almost immediately. I think he's going to be really good. But I think this is a good pick for the Raiders, kind of where I see them going. Some people might think no, but honestly, it kind of makes sense to me. So I like Christian Gonzalez there. This next pick is Jackson Smith and Jigba to the Atlanta Falcons. I actually made this pick on a mock draft with Absolutely and Drop Balls Pod on Twitter. Both of those guys have Twitter out there, and we were just going through a mock draft, and Jackson Smith and Jigba came out to me and has made sense ever since then. And this is what I think they could very well do, because they have Kyle Pitts, they have Drake London. They don't really have anyone else other than a few running backs that are decent, right? So I feel like adding someone that can complement Drake London extremely well and even almost become a better wide receiver by the end of the year, I think the Atlanta Falcons would have some decent targets for Desmond Ridder to continue to grow with. So Atlanta Falcons with Jackson Smith and Jigba would not be the worst thing in the world, and I think it could very well happen. Next one here, Paris Johnson Jr. This one, to me, has made sense for a long time. Something that the Chicago Bears just need to do. Also, it pairs Justin Fields with a former teammate, and a lot of things that you want in a left tackle, Paris Johnson has. He's just got some refinement to do, some things to work on. I don't think it's the end of the world with where he's at, and he could very well get up to speed pretty quick in the NFL. Number 10, this might be the spiciest one so far. Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's starting to make more sense, and I hate it. I say that because I have been so anti-running back in the first round. I even had, Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs falling out of the first round in a lot of my first, just running through mock drafts and stuff like that. But the more I sat there and thought about it, Bijan Robinson could very well be the pick here. And I think it'd be a smart decision, mainly because you have a great run game established. You got offensive linemen established. You got defense established. And, now you have, a couple good running backs, right? Not hating on any of those guys, but Bijan could come in there and be special. And to me, a running back of his caliber at the cost of what the 10th overall pick would be, I think is a very good deal. Number 11, we got Peter Skoronski, offensive tackle, Northwestern. This is the guy that entered the first year, this last year, the first mock drafts of this draft class. Peter Skoronski was always the number one offensive tackle, and he kind of stayed that way for the most part. I think there's about 2 or 3 offensive tackles that most people have as the first guy, and Peter Skoronski took a few lumps in the draft process because people were saying he's just not built to be a tackle, but it kind of isn't built so much to be a guard either. So he's this odd guy. But honestly, with the Titans, they need some offensive linemen. I know that they have Andre Dillard and Nicholas Petit-Ferrier, but I think Peter Skoronski can take someone's job. I think he could take one of those guys' job. More likely, it would be Andre Dillard's job. And if not, he could play guard for a while too. It's not the end of the world either. I think Peter Skoronski ends up being one of the best tackles for the rookie year. I just have Paris Johnson ending up better overall. And that's why I have that there. Next one here is Myles Murphy to the Houston Texans. I don't think you get a defensive-minded head coach in D'Amico Ryans and go offense right away, especially where wide receivers and other positions tend to be fruitful in rounds 2 through 4. Where edge, you kind of have to get the top guys. You got to get the blue chips. And the more I watch Myles Murphy, the more I understand the hype around him. Just the size, speed, athleticism, and all the tools that he has already. He would make an impact right away for him. And I think they can start building that defensive line around what Myles Murphy does. And, hopefully in the future get a guy to pair with him on the other side. So I think this would be a good pick for him. There's some other edges on the board, but this is where I think the Texans go. Next one here is Tyree Wilson for the New York Jets. And the reason why I have him here and not at the Texans or maybe even further up is he still, doesn't have it all together yet. He is older. He took a while to fully blossom. And, that's going to start making people feel like, okay, maybe we don't put our biggest chip forward on this guy and maybe we take someone more safe. Where the Jets are right now, they're in a position that they have a lot of great players in positions already. They don't have a whole lot of true needs. And so when you can put Tyree Wilson on there, he's not a starter right away, but he can just be another guy coming for the quarterback at whatever point in the game. It's scary to have this guy on the defensive line. So I think they can work with him. I think they eventually get him to be even better than what he is now. And you got a monster for the next, hopefully 10 years. Moving on, I got the New England Patriots taking Broderick Jones, offensive tackle out of Georgia. This is that other guy that a lot of people have as their offensive tackle number 1. It's a lot of, the flavor of it all. So Broderick Jones, I think, has shown that he has been a good tackle for a long time, and he can play strong in the passing game, run game, whatever you want him to do. And I think he fits the mold of what the Patriots want to do very well. And I can see them taking this guy mainly because of the Georgia connection. I think he plays very good for the position, and they have a need there. So I can see them very much taking Broderick Jones. Next one here is Calijah Kancey. I think he pairs very good with Devonte Wyatt, where Devonte Wyatt does a little bit of everything. Calijah Kancey is going to be more of your pass rushing defensive interior player, however you want to say it. But he has such an ability to put himself where he needs to be that I think he will eventually be an every down guy. He is smaller, but I think he can get there. And if he doesn't at least get to, being a 3 or 4 down rushing defensive interior, I think he can make a big enough impact where if you take him in the first round, you're not going to lose out on the value of what could have been, quote unquote. So I like Calijah Kancey here. Next one is a trade. This is the only trade that I have, and to me it makes sense. If it's not for CJ Stroud, I do think it makes sense for the Vikings to trade up in front of the Buccaneers to take whatever it is, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, or maybe Hendon Hooker if both of those guys are gone. And I think this is a good enough leap for the Commanders, who were originally at the spot, to fall down. I think it's to 23 and, take some other players that they might need. I didn't really get into what the trade compensation would be. Obviously, they would switch the first rounds this year. And later on in the mock draft, I have the Commanders taking a player that the Vikings would taking a player that the Commanders would have taken. So we'll cover that when we get to it. It's just hard to make all those different changes without having trades available on PFF. But I like CJ Stroud a lot. I like him a lot, and I think if the Vikings get him here, it's an absolute steal. I don't know if he actually even falls this far. But I'm starting to think that he might fall. I feel like teams are getting to a point where they're just really not sure about Ohio State quarterbacks. And like you've seen it with Lamar Jackson, you've seen it with even Justin Fields. They were projected really high, and then it's just like, oh no, this player is getting skipped on. And I just wonder if CJ Stroud is that guy this year, because I think the Colts have their eyes locked on Will Levis. I hope it's CJ Stroud. But I wonder, is CJ Stroud actually going to just start to slide somehow? Because a lot of people had him as the number 1 overall pick just a few months ago. But what if he just starts to not, go that early? Like, what if he just starts to slide? Like, I think that the Vikings would trade up for him if this is how things go. And what a perfect quarterback to replace Kirk Cousins. Not because they play similarly, but I think CJ Stroud won't have the pressure of like, I got to go in right away and be the one to take them to the Super Bowl. I feel like that's what the Vikings might expect. But he could come in after this year, kind of give Kirk Cousins his flowers. And then he has Justin Jefferson, a great weapon. He has Dalvin Cook. They also, were they the ones that got Hawkinson? I'm blanking on that one because I know Hawkinson got traded in the division. Maybe it was him. But yeah, I think the Vikings could make a lot of use out of CJ Stroud, and I don't think they would have to trade up too much to get to this point. And I think this would just be a great pick. Darnell Wright would be a great offensive tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I see them as having a need here and also valuing this guy higher than the rest of the players on the board, and that's why I took him here. It would be great to throw in Joey Porter Jr. or someone else, but the Steelers don't run the ball very well. They need to start doing something on that offensive line, and Darnell Wright at 17 is a great pick. This one is brought upon by the Lions losing 2 wide receivers to the gambling scandal. Jordan Addison being here, though, provides one, Amon-Ra, he doesn't have to have all the attention. Jordan Addison might even take more attention at some points. But you give a balanced attack on the Detroit Lions. You got a great offensive coordinator. I honestly, I think this is a very sneaky pick that they take a wide receiver here, especially because of the gambling issues. Jameson Williams will be out for a couple games, but then just imagine you have Amon-Ra, Jordan Addison, and you have Jameson Williams fully healthy, ready to go. That's a great young core that can do a lot of damage. Next one here is Hendon Hooker going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got leapfrogged by the Vikings, and so they respond by taking Hendon Hooker, which actually fits very well for what they're doing. They got Baker Mayfield right now, and that gives Hendon Hooker time to come back fully healthy off of his injury, not have a whole lot of expectations, and he can go in with players like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin already there, and they can start building around him. Get it that that first round, 5th year option. I think is crucial for Hendon Hooker, because if you don't, you're really only getting 3 years with him. So I really like Hendon Hooker, and I feel like this would be a great pick. Next one might be a reach. Some people might say that, but the value of what John Michael Schmitz can bring to the Seahawks, I feel like outweighs a lot of the other picks here. Now you can chew my ear off. That's fine. Drop it in the comments if you do. But John Michael Schmitz is probably the center number 1 for most people. Some might say Luke Whippler or someone else. We can go in that conversation later. But John Michael Schmitz came to the board for me. I think this makes a lot of sense for the Seahawks. You get someone that you can solidify your offensive line basically entirely, something that they haven't done in a long time. And, start worrying about the other rounds on weapons and other positions that, kind of make more sense in the later rounds. But I like John Michael Schmitz here. It's probably the highest that most people have seen him, but I think this is one of those situations like Cole Strange where you might say, oh, I don't know if I would do that, but I think it works. Next here is Deonte Banks, cornerback out of Maryland for the Los Angeles Chargers. Most people are going to say, why not wide receiver? Why not Zay Flowers? Trust me, there's going to be wide receivers down the road. But Deonte Banks here makes something possible, and that is moving on from J.C. Jackson, which I think the Chargers should do. I think you could get a good trade out of him, at least dump his salary somewhere and just move on. I just don't think that was the right move. I think you guys need to get out of that contract in whatever ways possible. And taking Deonte Banks, maybe you can trade J.C. Jackson and get more draft capital this year. If not, you can get it for next year. The next one here is Joey Porter Jr., cornerback out of Penn State. This is probably one of my favorite mock-ups. I think the Steelers and the Ravens are very good spots for Joey Porter Jr. His family pedigree speaks for itself, but his play also speaks for itself too. He can make a lot of plays. There are things he can work on. That's, he's not the most clean prospect ever, but I think the Ravens will like him a lot more than other teams. Dalton Kincaid, this is the fruit of trading down. You could have taken him a lot earlier. You take him now, you add in a great tight end that can stretch the field, basically be a slot receiver that's got a big frame. And, you get more draft capital down the road. And since you have a new owner, you probably have a lot of staff changing around. It's best to just collect picks and get things going. And I think that's a good pick too. Obviously, I made all these picks, so they should all be good picks, right? Michael Mayer, tight end, Notre Dame. This one just makes a lot of sense. You get Evan Ingram, obviously, is the tight end there. He's on a 1-year deal, I think, unless they already did a contract extension. But Michael Mayer here is someone that will make a lot of things easier for Trevor Lawrence. I think he made a lot of things easier for the number of quarterbacks that went through Notre Dame, and he always produced for him. And I think he can produce right away for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one's Osiris Torrence. He is the OG offensive guard out of Florida. He's a big dude, but he fits kind of that need that they've had for a while of, kind of just slotting in as a guard and taking whatever position Glowinski isn't taking, and eventually, to kind of just be the guard for the Giants for a while. And I feel like this is a good pick because I would assume that the Cowboys are also in on O'Cyrus Torrence a little bit. So you kind of steal a little bit from your rivals, but you also get someone that is solid for what you need. Obviously, it would be fun to do wide receiver here, but I think O'Cyrus Torrence kind of is that top echelon of a very thin offensive guard class. And he's played that position. You're not converting a tackle into guard. You get you got a guard. All right, this is a pick that I have battled for a while. Mazi Smith, defensive tackle. Honestly, I just think he provides a lot of what the Cowboys need is a true nose tackle, defensive tackle that can stop the run. Obviously, not a perfect prospect in my eyes. Obviously, if he was, he would have gotten a lot higher. But I think he provides something that the Cowboys would extremely need. And I think it's better than what some of these other draft prospects would do. And he will be a guy there for a while. Nolan Smith, edge here at Georgia. I was scrolling through and I saw that Von Miller's contract is kind of getting to the point where they're going to have to restructure it somehow. But even if they don't, he's old. And who better to stick Nolan Smith next to than Von Miller? Nolan Smith is a student of the game, high character guy. And obviously, Von Miller doesn't have to teach him anything. But Nolan Smith is going to pick up things. He's going to, pick apart Von Miller's mind. And he's going to become Von Miller. I really like this pick. Brian Bresee, defensive tackle out of Clemson for the Bengals here. This is one where the Bengals don't have a whole lot of true needs. So you take someone that has shown that he's back and healthy, but before he was injured, he showed some very impressive technique, just ability to just disrupt. And I think he will be back a lot faster than people assume. He could go a lot higher than this, but I think the Bengals, obviously they have the defensive interior pretty well fixed, but this gives them another guy. Those older defensive tackles can take a few more snaps off. This one I really like. Obviously, Alvin Kamara may or may not be suspended. I forget if that's already taken place yet. But either way, Alvin Kamara has been just taking the load for the New Orleans Saints. Quick pause there. And Jahmyr Gibbs can come in, not necessarily be the exact same thing as Alvin Kamara, but you put both of these guys on the same field at the same time, or you can have them trade off and do whatever, and they're going to make a huge amount of impact. Jahmyr Gibbs would make a huge impact for the Saints right away. They need a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball, and I think this adds to their game a lot. And then here we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking Lucas Van Ness. This is after they have taken Bijan Robinson. One thing about Lucas Van Ness that everyone probably knows is he's young, new to the position. Not new to the position, but still growing in the position. But he is just far advanced for his age and his size, his athleticism, and everything. And you put that in an Eagles uniform, you're going to get a lot out of him. And last one here for the first round is Zay Flowers out of Boston College. It's a little unfair giving Patrick Mahomes Zay Flowers, and that's exactly why they would take him. The reason Zay Flowers is falling, I feel like other teams have more needs elsewhere, but the Chiefs have a lot of odds and ends at the wide receiver position after Tyreek Hill is gone. Zay Flowers isn't Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying that. Obviously, they're different players. But you give him someone that can work in a lot of different levels on the field. He can produce right away. And just given the offensive mind there with Andy Reid, with Patrick Mahomes, this is the prime spot for Zay Flowers. And I think they get a lot out of him as well. So that's my first round. It's going to be different than everyone else's first rounds. I understand that. But just give me your comments, right? Like, give me your thoughts, opinions on there. I'm trying to be predictive. I'm trying to be, someone that's not just throwing out just sparky, spicy trades picks just for the heck of it. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm looking at this with a different mindset of what I normally do. I'm trying to go into it and say, what is this team possibly going to do? And this is what I landed upon. So, like I said, throw your comments if you think this is too spicy, if I've gone too far, if I need to be stopped. Let me know. But other than that, I'm going to end this video and we're going to start with the second and third round. All right, welcome to the second round. Like I said, we are going to be doing all 3 rounds here on this video. So we're going to break into the PFF for the rest of this. So I can kind of click and show you what I had. I didn't want to create all these different templates for, these next 70-something picks. So I'm just going to be inputting them here and kind of giving you a real life update on all these different picks here for me. So with the first pick of the second round, I have Brian Branch being taken by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is a player that I feel like fits very well with the style of defense that they have there, and they're going to find a spot with him, whether that's slot corner, whether that's safety. I think they find something pretty good for him. Next one here, the Houston Texans taking Quinton Johnston. I think they really like his style. They could have taken him at 12, but he's still there in the second round. I'm not really high on him. I don't think a lot of teams are, but second round, I can see the Texans taking that swing. Next one here, I'm going to go pretty quick on these because we can go more into it. But if you have a question on why I did some of these, just hit a comment up for us. I do respond pretty quick on those, so I can talk to you about why I did these ones. But I like Steve Avila here for the Cardinals. Just a good guard out of TCU, strong. I think he has a good attitude for being a guard as well. With the Colts, I have kind of a little bit of a reach, but if you know the Colts, they really like their combine warriors, and Adebawore is definitely that. And I think that they just will love his athletic ability and his play style. The Los Angeles Rams get their first pick, and this is one that I think is very important for them to have, especially with how the board is shaping up. But I have Luke Whippler here. Next one here is not Denver. This is from Denver. The Seattle Seahawks taking a pick here. And I have them taking Josh Downs, being a guy that can kind of just shoot down the middle, do whatever you need. He has great hands for his size, and I think he makes an impact for him. Now, the Oakland Raiders here, I think they get a great edge with Will McDonald here, not having to take one super early. They get Will McDonald. I think he's going to be good in the NFL. After that, I have the Panthers taking a edge out of USC and Tuli Tuipulotu. Kind of a hard name to say. The New Orleans Saints, I think they get someone kind of around their size, frame, expectations, however you want to put it. And they take Felix Anudike-Uzomah. The Tennessee Titans are next up. They have a lot of needs, but I think someone that kind of fits with what they want to do is Keanu Benton. Kind of pair him with Jeffrey Simmons. I think that's a great defensive line. The New York Jets now have 2 picks back to back here. Let me pull these up. Okay, yeah. So I have here, just make sure I don't pass these guys. Matthew Bergeron. Kind of a good guard tackle hybrid that you can work with. And then I have them also taking, where is this dude? Dayon Henley. I think they need a linebacker. I think he fits with what the 49ers, Robert Saleh wants to do. And I think he can get a lot out of him. The Atlanta Falcons. The Celtics just beat the Atlanta Hawks. That's why I'm thinking about it. I have them taking, Cody Mock, ugly dude out of North Dakota State. Sorry, Cody, if you're listening to this, which I doubt. The Packers next. This is a good one. This is the corner DJ Turner out of Michigan. And then the Patriots. This is a very Patriots pick. Darnell Washington. I think that's so Patriots. Washington Commanders. This is still their own pick. I have them taking Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback here. The Lions have a lot of great picks in this draft. This is awesome for them. I have a tight end here going, and it is Luke Musgrove. I think he's a better fit for their style. And 49, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking another DB, but this one is going to be Tyreek Stevenson, more of that outside corner, someone I feel like they need as well. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're going to go tackle Anton Harrison. They just need to shore up that offensive line for sure. The Miami Dolphins here, also going tackle Dewan Jones. All right, Seattle Seahawks, after all of this, end up with Bijan Ojolari on the board, just adding more to that defensive line. After Bijan Ojolari, Baltimore traded this pick to the Bears, and the Bears are going to be taking interior offensive line, Joe Tippmann, that's right, out of Wisconsin. Now we have the Chargers on the board. Okay, yeah. Like I said there's going to be wide receivers on the board. Nathaniel Dell out of Houston. I think that's a great playmaker for the Chargers. Now we have the Minnesota pick being traded to the Detroit Lions. That's already done before this video. And they are going for Jack Campbell. Dan Campbell, Jack Campbell, match made in heaven. After this, we have the pick 56 going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That one is Big Boy. Where is Big Boy? Siaka Ika. New York Giants. See, I told you, like I said, there are wide receivers on the board, and this is where they go Jalen Hyatt. All right. Dallas Cowboys could have taken a running back, but there's always more running backs. There's always another running back. Kalijah Spears, though, I think is going to draw their eye a lot. The Buffalo Bills next. This is one where they're going to kind of help their run defense. A little bit of a reach as far as what PFF has here, but I think it works. Where is the dude? This is why I did all my stuff before for the first round, because doing this the whole time would be terrible. But Moro Ojamo for the Buffalo Bills here. After that, the Bengals need to pick. Oh, this one I really like for him. Keely Ringo. I think a player that fits their style, and I think he can make a big impact for him. So this is kind of a cool pick. After that, we have the 61st pick going to the Chicago Bears, and that is for Keon White. The Eagles kind of clear up the rest of this kind of top space here, taking Cam Smith. I really like him as a zone DB. I think he fits zone extremely well wherever you put him. Kansas City Chiefs, they did take Zay Flowers, and they're going to kind of bring up another dude here. Where's this dude at? Byron Young out of Tennessee. All right, now we are moving into the third round here. Bears are back on the board where they belong, and they are going to be taking Travius Hodges Tomlinson. I think he's a son or nephew of LaDainian Tomlinson. The Texans are back on the board. This one is linebacker, and I can see them going Trenton Simpson. All right, number 66, Arizona Cardinals. That one is going to be the other Tennessee wide receiver, Cedric Tillman. 67, that one is going to be the Broncos, and they're going to be taking Julius Brents. The Broncos are actually on the board again. That's funny. And they are taking a tight end in Tucker Kraft. Kind of a more needs to learn a little bit more, kind of a raw prospect, but the Rams are back on the board here. I think they're just kind of filling a few needs here. This one is going to be cornerback Darius Rush for the Los Angeles Rams. After that, the Raiders. This one I don't know if people are going to hate or not, but Tanner McKee, someone that doesn't have a whole lot of right now responsibilities, but he's 6'6", got a great arm. He can learn the system, and he's more mobile than you think he is. New Orleans Saints move on. They get defensive interior Kobe Turner out of Wake Forest. Tennessee Titans. Oh, this one's a good pick. This is Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma, kind of pairing with the pick of Treylon Burks last year. And number 73, this is from Cleveland. And they are going to be taking... That's right, yeah. Clark Phillips, Utah corner. And the Browns. Gage, the Browns. They get their first pick after trading an arm and a leg for Deshaun Watson. And they go and grab Antonio Johnson, safety out of Texas A&M. The Falcons are now on the board. And the Falcons land, let's see, where is this guy? Isaiah Foskey out of Notre Dame. And Patriots. Okay, the Patriots are on the board here. This one is Nick Herbig. Los Angeles Rams. Let's see here. From New England. That's right. Taking Drew Sanders. 78. This is the Green Bay Packers. They loaded up on wide receiver last year. They're loading up again with A.T. Perry. Which kind of sucks. I wanted that for the Colts. And that's why I have the Colts taking another wide receiver and Jonathan Mingo. All right. Another running back for the Steelers, Zach Charbonnet. Defensive tackle for the Detroit Lions with a big dude. Where is this dude? Jervon Dexter out of Florida. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 82. That is... Where is this dude? Carl Brooks. I'll say edge out of Bowling Green. Sorry, I should probably start saying their positions now that we're in the weeds a little bit. And Seattle Seahawks going 83. They're going to be taking a running back. Wait, no, not a running back. A linebacker. That's my bad. And that one is DeMarvion Overshown. The next one is the Miami Dolphins taking Israel Abanikanda. All right, Los Angeles Chargers followed that pick up with pick 85 being another running back. This one I really like is Kendre Miller. Baltimore Ravens now on the board. Take a great tackle, Blake Freeland. More of a great size and athletic ability. He can develop for them as well. That leads the Vikings have traded this pick to the Washington Commanders, and the Commanders would be the ones taking this pick with Wanya Morris. Okay, number 88, I got a safety here. Cindy Brown for the Jacksonville Jaguars. After that, we got pick 89. That's going to be a tight end here with Luke Schoonmaker. Cowboys going pick 90. Where's this dude? Where's this dude? Oh, yeah. Chandler Zavala. Buffalo Bills. Pick 91. Chandler Zavala was guard out of North Carolina State. Buffalo Bills pick number 91. Go with Iowa cornerback Riley Moss. Cincinnati Bengals follow that up with a pick of a tight end. And that one, if it's not going to go up here, is Zach Kuntz. Carolina Panthers pick number 93. Go Michael Wilson. Philadelphia Eagles pick 94. This one's a little spicy. So, hate the player, don't hate the game. Keyshawn Butte out of LSU. It's a little spicy there, but I can't fit him into a better team than the Philadelphia Eagles for probably what he needs. Kansas City Chiefs after Keyshawn Butte pick number 95. That is going to be Braden Daniels out of Utah, tackle. Arizona Cardinals pick 96. Devon A-Chain, running back out of Texas A&M. Washington Commanders follow that pickup, number 97, with a running back of their own, Dwayne McBride. Cleveland Browns are on the clock, and they are taking, where's this dude? Zach Pickens, defensive interior out of South Carolina. And then four out of the next four picks are in the Bay Area. 3 of them are the Niners. So the Niners kick this off with Kytrell Clark. Where did you go? Louisville cornerback. The Raiders then take Andrew Voorhees, a guard who has a few injuries to overcome. And then the Niners take tackle Jalen Duncan out of Maryland and go for a wide receiver in Tyler Scott, just to add a little bit more speed on that team. But that is my mock draft here. I'll show you my full results here. This kind of shows the first round pick. Like I said, the Vikings and the Commanders made a trade, so I have that shown here. And then we have the full results. We can go through all of these here, but let me know what you think in the comments, please. Something that I am trying to do this week is be more predictive about what is going to happen rather than what I'm going to do. So if you feel like these teams are not going to do them 100%, let me know. I will respond to you. I will, kind of give you my reasons why. You can give me your reasons why, and then we can find out on Thursday why we're both wrong. But other than that, thank you for watching. I appreciate that. It shows you like this kind of content. So follow us if you haven't already. Subscribe. You can leave a comment and obviously drop a like if you haven't already. But hope you enjoyed this off season. Get ready for the NFL draft and join our live stream. And that will start on the draft. But other than that, enjoy your off season.